This video has been brought to you by racism. Racism is accepted wherever true Americans are. And
Hear me clearly. America is not a racist country.
We need to address, well, first of all, no, I don't think America is a racist country.
White women are the biggest hindrance to moving racial equality forward because we have more influence over the raising of our children than anybody else, and white supremacy grows in our homes. And we are the ones teaching our children if only they would behave this way, speak this way, or dress this way, maybe they would have equality. And I will not argue this with anyone.
Wait a minute. Whoa, wait a minute now. Wait a minute.
A white buddy of mine today said, Dixon, not everything's about race, man. Right, buddy? I told him, I said, it ain't never been about race. Because, I found out that about 95% of these school shootings is by white people. Almost all of them is done by white people, and there's been hundreds of them now. Hundreds of mass shootings all around the country. But imagine if it was brown and black folks that was shooting up in white schools. But, that wouldn't make any difference, right? He said, well, of course not, Dixon. That ain't going to make no damn difference in gun control. It's the Second Amendment. And I said, yeah, it's funny, though, in 1968, they had the Black Panthers with AK-47s and whatnot and assault rifles, and they were arming themselves. And by God, the first time they passed common sense gun laws. I mean, they banned the assault rifle. All this amazing happened, but, yeah, you're right. If it was black and brown people shooting up white schools, well, no, that wouldn't make any difference. I said, you know what? You're right, buddy. It ain't about race. That's why they want to ban CRT, because we ain't got no real racism in our history. That's why they want to ban wokeism and ban racial consciousness, because there ain't no racism here. There never was. From slavery to assassination, Abraham Lincoln, MLK, to Jim Crow, man, it ain't never been about race, and it never will be. And that's why they got all that legislation to stop black books and to ban and criminalize black books and black history, because it ain't never been about race, none of it. And we're supposed to just sweep it under the carpet and not talk about it. We're supposed to normalize denying and gaslighting white supremacy, because that's the American way, right, buddy? But this time he was getting pretty red in the face. I don't know why, but I'm just saying it's not about race, right? The KKK in Tennessee, founded in Pulaski, Tennessee, was never about race. Those 3 state representatives, 2 of them being expelled today, and the white one not being expelled for the exact same behavior, not about race. You're right. Nothing in America is about race, and that's why they're fighting so hard to not talk about race. Because if we don't talk about it, we'll never fix it. And the system and the culture of white supremacy will keep right on shining throughout the land. And in reality, that's what you want, my friend. The one who says, not everything's about race. You're right. Not everything's about race in the mind of a white person. But if you're not white, everything is about race. But to talk about it as a white person makes you uncomfortable, makes you have to face your own immorality, your own inhumanity. Wow. Can you imagine that as a white person, having to face your own immorality and inhumanity? That's too much. You should just be able to sweep it under the carpet, keep the system alive, continue to benefit, have privileges. That's what it's all about, right? You're right. That's how white supremacy works. And that's why it'll never be fixed until you get uncomfortable and face the fucking truth as white people. Let's just say we're probably no longer friends.
like I keep stating, it comes to a point in time where you have to allow other people that don't look black to actually explain to black people specifically what it is that is going on and how it is that it has occurred and it has been happening. Because what I've learned so far by doing this platform is that black people don't happen to listen to anything you have to say when it deals with race relations if you are black. Black people are, in a sense, more amped to hear Europeans, in a sense, explain it to them in the most basic ABC format that you could ever hear in your life. And, 9 times out of 10, they will receive kudos, they will receive gratitude, thanks, and everything of this sort. And I completely understand it. And this is why I simply tell y'all that I'm going to allow other people to talk about it because y'all ain't going to debate with me. We're not going to have this back and forth because if we are, you're going to be talking to him. He literally told you and said every single thing that you've had black people been saying for decades. But it's more believable if someone of his status, in a sense, states it. And again, he didn't state nothing wrong. I didn't hear a lie anywhere of any of the things that he stated. Nothing. And I promise you that you will more than likely try to have some of his own people that will try to refute, deflect, and bring up other types of things in order to get away from all of the facts that he stated. Right? And he was literally explaining to his friend, like, hey, yeah, you're right. Nothing has to do with race. You're right, racism doesn't exist. And then he went in to basically explain some historical facts and things that predominantly had to specifically do with black people and how it is that they were treated, how they were seen, how laws were made in order to go after them and the quote unquote same freedoms that their Caucasian counterparts are able to have. But again, like you said, racism doesn't exist. Color is just a construct. It shouldn't even, be a thing, right? But yet it is because you literally have one group of people who state all of these things, but then they fight tooth and nail in order to keep that exact same thing in existence, right? So if you have a whole bunch of Europeans stating that, race is a construct, it's a branding, it's not real, it's this, that, and the third, right? Then allow the truth and the information of the past to come forward so that we can get to that understanding, so that we can get to that formula of, hey, race is not an actual real thing. Color is not an actual real thing. Let's actually get the information all out there instead of fighting against it so that we can get to, again, that exact same point of what you guys have been saying for all along. Oh, we're all God's children, we all bleed the same. We all come from the same source, yada yada yada, all this other, type of great stuff. But again, all I keep seeing is fighting against the truths and the ugly facts about America. Right? We have all of these other things that are placed in front of children that are allowed to be taught. We have morals and religious beliefs being stripped away. We got your rights as an American citizen being stripped away. But for whatever reason, they don't want to, in a sense, talk about that or teach that, you know, in the schools. They don't want to teach the kids morals. They don't want to teach them values or anything like that. They don't want to teach kids to see another person as a human being versus the color of the skin, even though the exact same people keep stating that racism doesn't exist. Right? They keep trying to go with this back and forth of, oh, well, you were never, a slave, you never went through this, you never yada yada yada, right? And I stated again, I gave easy solutions, right? You want black people to stop talking about slavery? No problem. Give black people the money that they are asking for. And when they accept that money, have it written down that, yo, on you accepting this money, you are now stating from this point on that racism is not a thing. That from this point on, that you've gotten your money, that it's no longer a construct. We are all one, yada, yada, yada. Right? Just do that. I gave a very easy solution, right? Give black people, the black community, the money that they're looking for, the same way that you give all of these other communities who, really didn't do anything. Give You've been giving away billions of dollars, directly to other countries and communities that have nothing to do with America. Give them, the money and have those, stipulations. So therefore, if we're talking about moving, if we're talking about being progressive as a society, as a people, then therefore, we're not going to be talking about race. We're not going to be talking about the past and yada yada yada. Well, at least the ones that accepted the money, right? And that would be the other issue, right? Because if we had anything to basically state that, hey, if you accept this money, then you're not going to be, talking about race, right? So then that would lead to the other people who didn't accept the money. They would carry on the narrative. They would carry on talking about color. They would, yada yada yada. But then again, we would still have another problem because even with both of those two groups within the community, the you know black community, um, being divided, you would still have other Europeans who are here in America who would decide that, well, I get what y'all, doing, but I still have my opinion. I still am going to say what it is that I want to sit up there and state, regardless on how it is that black people are moving along. I'm still going to breed and perpetuate the negative stereotypes. I'm still going to call, black people a certain type of slur or different slurs. I'm still going to use derogatory terms towards black people and how it is that I refer directly to them. So, like I said before, I can try to give solutions, but at the end of the day, um, it is what it is. Nothing is ever going to change. The only way that things will just so happen to change is that if you have more people just like him that happen to speak and they're a lot more damn vocal, things will be better off, potentially, possibly.